Hey everyone, Eric here. Today, we're diving into a book that might just flip everything you thought you knew about learning on its head. It's called How We Learn by the science journalist Benedict Carey. So let's jump right in.
So when I say the word study, what pops into your head? For most of us, it's that classic picture, right? Someone sitting bolt upright in a silent library, phone off, totally zoned in, no distractions allowed. We've all been sold this idea that real learning has to look like some kind of intense monastic discipline.
But what if that so-called perfect method is the very thing holding you back? The author, Benedict Carey, makes a fascinating point. When we fail to learn something, it's almost never because we're not trying hard enough. It's because we're using strategies that are actively fighting against how our brains are naturally wired.
All right, so first things first, let's absolutely shatter some of the biggest myths that we've all been taught about learning. You're about to see how even our best intentions can lead us way off track. Okay, myth number 1 to go out the window. The sacred study space. You know, that one desk in that one quiet room. We think we need it to concentrate, but the science actually shows the opposite. Sticking to one single spot can make your memory more fragile because it becomes totally dependent on the cues from that one place.
So why does this happen? Well, it all comes down to something called context-dependent memory. Your brain doesn't just store a piece of information in a vacuum. It bundles it up with all the background stuff, the sights, the sounds, the smell of the coffee shop. So when you learn in different places, your office, a cafe, maybe a park bench, you're giving your brain multiple sets of keys to unlock that same information. It makes the memory stronger and way more accessible no matter where you are. All right, here's another one that feels completely backward. We all think that cramming for an exam, just forcing information in, is the way to go. But the radical truth is, and this might sound crazy, letting yourself forget a little bit is one of the best things you can do to remember something long-term.
The science behind this is a really cool concept called desirable difficulty. Think of it like going to the gym. When you have to struggle a bit to recall a piece of information you've started to forget, that effort acts like a workout for your neurons. It strengthens the entire pathway. That struggle is what builds the memory muscle and makes it truly durable, unlike the flimsy memory you get from cramming.
Okay, so we've torn down the old, broken ideas. Now, what do we build in their place? This next part is all about the toolkit. These are the scientifically backed strategies that work with your brain, not against it, to really level up your learning. First up in our new toolkit is a technique called interleaving. Now, the old way, blocked practice, is what we all do instinctively. We drill topic A until we've mastered it, then move to B, and so on. The smart way, interleaving, is about mixing it all up. You study a little A, then a little B, then go back to A. It feels messier, it feels slower, I promise you it will, but the long-term payoff is huge.
So, why on earth does this messy approach work so much better? Well, think about it. When you do blocked practice, your brain kind of goes on autopilot. You just use the same formula again and again. But the real world never throws problems at you like that. Interleaving forces your brain to constantly scan and ask, okay, what kind of problem is this? Which tool from my toolbox do I need to solve it? That's a much deeper level of learning.
All right, let me ask you something. Quick gut check. When you need to revise something important, which of these sounds better? A, reading the material 4 times over, or B, reading it just once and then trying to recall or test yourself on it 3 times. Be honest, most of us would pick A. Well, the answer is B. And it's not just a little better, it's way more effective. You see, when you just reread something, you create what's called an illusion of fluency. The material feels familiar, so you trick yourself into thinking you know it. But true learning comes from active recall, the act of pulling the information out of your brain. This powerful phenomenon is called the testing effect, and you can start using it today. It's simple. After you read a report or a chapter, just close it and jot down the main ideas from memory. Or try explaining the concept out loud to a friend or colleague. You'll immediately find the gaps in your understanding. And yeah, good old-fashioned flashcards, they're basically a perfect tool for this. And now for our final strategy. And honestly, this one might be the most important. It really embraces this whole idea of not focusing so hard. You know that feeling when you hit a wall? You're stuck on a tough problem and just can't see the solution? Well, the most productive thing you can do is walk away. It's time to engage your brain's offline mode. What's happening here is what scientists call the incubation effect. See, your brain has 2 main modes, a tight, focused beam and a broad, diffuse mode. When you're stuck, that focused beam is just hitting the same wall over and over. By stepping away, going for a walk, listening to some music, you switch to that diffuse mode. Your subconscious keeps turning the problem over in the background, making new connections until suddenly you get that aha moment.
And what's the most powerful offline tool of all? Sleep. Seriously, sacrificing sleep to cram more information in is one of the worst trades you can possibly make. When you're asleep, your brain is hard at work, organizing everything you learned that day, filing away the important stuff into long-term memory, and clearing out the mental clutter. Sleep isn't downtime, it's critical processing time. All right, theory is great, but what does this actually look like day to day? Let's make this super practical. This is your new playbook for applying all these strategies, whether you're studying for a certification or trying to pick up a new skill for work. So, for any students out there, look at the difference. The old way is basically a recipe for stress and burnout. The smart way, on the other hand, weaves in everything we've talked about. You change your environment, you mix up your subjects, you spend most of your time testing yourself, and you protect your sleep. It's a complete game changer. And hey, this is absolutely not just for students. For all of us professionals trying to learn a new skill, maybe a coding language or a new instrument, the same rules apply. Instead of that one exhausting 2-hour session, try breaking it up throughout the day. Mix up the techniques you practice. Don't just watch a tutorial, try to do it from memory. And when you get frustrated, see that as a signal to take a strategic break.
So, if you remember just one thing from all this, let it be this. Learning is not about brute force. It's not a battle of wills against your own brain. It's a science, and it's about creating a strategy that works with your brain's natural rhythm, not against it.
You know, all these little tweaks we talked about, studying at a cafe, quizzing yourself instead of rereading, taking that walk when you're stuck, they might seem small, but I promise you, they add up to a massive difference in how effectively and efficiently you learn. Your brain is an incredible tool. It's time to start using it the way it was designed.
I really hope this gives you some new tools to use on your own learning journey. If you found this breakdown helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe, and maybe share it with a friend who could use it. And hey, if there's a book you want us to tackle next, let me know in the comments. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Eric, and I'll see you in the next one.